think we're live, brother man. I think we're live. Let me just double check, do a little double check. Your mic working all right?
Yeah, I
Yep, we
guess it.
live.
Yes, it is.
We live. So we're gonna wait a couple minutes for some people to come in, and then we can get started. Not very long though, because we on time. We on time. We some Hebrews on time.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can get started. Folks will come in. Folks will come in. So, salama and shalom to everybody, and shalom. Welcome to Aruka at the Well, our next segment of By the Word of Our Testimony. So, as always, just to give you a little, oh, shoot. I'm sorry, guys. Just to give you a little background, again, we want to talk about some good news. We go from platform to platform and we see all of these, we see the arguing, we see the strife, or we just see doomsday. And so, what we want to do is we want to get back to talking about the good news of Yah. And who better to do that than my brother? I know he gets mad, but I call him my moreh. That's my dude. That's my brother. But he is a strong man in Yahuah, and he is our next guest, moreh Emanuel. Um, Welcome, brother. This is an honor, y'all. So when I first came into the truth, we would jump from platform to platform, and I met moreh, what was it, 2 years ago? I think. Has it been two? Yeah, it's been 2 years.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Wow.
Yes, it has.
And he's just taught me a lot. Humble brother, phenomenal teacher. He just there's a platform. It's a small group of people that we assemble with. Shalom, shalom, family. And he was our presenter, and a phenomenal lesson. People are still buzzing about it. He's such a humble dude. He doesn't like to talk about it, but I praise y'all for my brother, for the teachings, for the wisdom, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy this segment. So let's say hi to everybody. Elephant Man, Shalom, Sister Kathleen, Avad Yahoo, Avad Yahoo. I think I said that right. Royal Diadem, Shalom, Imunia, my sis, Linda, my sis, Shalom, Shalom. Okay, let's just get right into it. So, as you guys know, I'm probably always going to ask the same questions, but I don't want to have too many questions just because I want to give each of our guests enough time to respond. So, you ready? You ready, Maury?
Let's get. Let's go.
Let's
Let's
go.
go. Let's get.
And take your time with the answers because this is one of those. Oh, okay, perfect. I said it right. This is one of those segments where I want you, take your time, feel comfortable, and just share with the people, whatever it is that y'all lays on your heart with the answer to each question. We have 5 questions. The first one is, how did you come into the truth?
Hmm. Okay. Thank you for having me, Ema Jill. I call her Ema Jill because
Petty.
she's been an Ema um, to me and also to those of us we actually come together to fellowship, right? Just like she said, I've known her. What is it? 20. Hmm.
This is
2018
2020.
on.
It's been
No, it was
more than
about,
2 years.
yeah, I think 2019. I
Mhm.
think
Yeah.
2019, really around that time. Yeah, possibly around that. Yeah, I think. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 It's 2020. You're right. You're right. It was
Is it
just
okay?
before. It was just before the pandemic. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Right before. So and it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. It's been a wonderful journey. So I thank you for having me. And I gotta say, um, I thank y'all for you, and I thank y'all for actually
Well,
beginning to do this that you just started. I remember at the beginning, I remember at least that I was one of those who pushed you to get this started,
yep.
you know. And I'm so, looking at where you've gone and how far you've gone right now, I'm just filled with gratitude to the Most High Yah for what He's using you to do. So, and my
Mhm.
encouragement is just to continue to do this, and so you can continue to be that impact in our community. So
Praise God.
praise Yah for that. So, the question is, how did I?
How did you awaken and come into the truth?
Okay, how did I come into the truth? Now, these stories, they can be long. No, these stories can get long, but
That's okay. We whatever time you
um,
need.
I'll just try to be as brief, as I can. And um, yeah, I think I got into the truth in 2017, right?
Mm-hmm.
2017. That's when I started. My eyes got opened, and I began to do a lot of research about it. Because one thing about me is I want to, learn. I want to research things. I always like to be objective. That's just, for me. I like to be objective, and just to see how I could really get to understand or prove that which I'm already, or which the Most High is already revealing to me. So it was 2017, but prior to that, this is an important thing that I want to say, and that's because it has never left me, and I've never forgotten it. So it was like an epiphany that came to me, and it was way back a long time ago. It was in the 90s, right? And I was just chilling and everything, and then I started thinking about my people. I started thinking about my tribe, and I was just thinking about it, how a lot of things are just happening to us as a people, my tribe, the mistreatment, the fact that we're not even recognized so much amongst our people, amongst the country, the nation as a whole. But when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to the putting the nation together, our people were very instrumental. Like, you can't not talk about the history without really going through, you know, my tribe and everything. But somehow it's just not mentioned, and it's just all forgotten. And so I was just thinking generally, and I was like, man, and the fact that we're going through a lot of things, I didn't relate it to nothing scriptural. I didn't relate it to nothing in the Bible, nothing at all. But I just thought about it, and then an epiphany just came to me. I was like, because we are, because the Most High wants to use us, because we're a special people in the Most High's hand, and He wants to use us for something. And it just came. It was like an epiphany, and then when that came, I just, well, oh well, all right, that's it, and it just, and I just forgot about it. Like, I just pushed it aside. I'll just say that, and I never thought about it again. It never, like, it completely, my memory, I totally forgot about it. It was just something that happened like 2, 3 seconds. And it was like an epiphany. It was like, because we are a special people, and that's why these things are happening. And I said, oh, well, and I just let it go. Now, move all the way now, fast track to now 2017. I was just sitting in my studio, and I was going through um, somebody's a Facebook channel, and then I saw that he posted something. So when he posted that thing, I I was like, what is this thing that this dude is posting? And I clicked on it. So when I clicked on it, it was really showing just a lot of, it was playing African music, the drums, the djembe, and everything was just playing those. And then as it was playing, there were some Igbos who were, it was playing some Igbo music.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like somebody asking questions and then another person answering those questions, right? And then the music just kept on playing, right? And it was like, just Igbo traditional music. And then it started with asking the question of who are the Igbos, and who are they, and things like that. And then so when they asked, he started answering, and then started relating it. And then I stayed stunned to that video, and I was just stunned and watching it all the way through. And that was the beginning um of my journey. When that happened, somehow it hit me so strong. And that's because as I was watching it, I was like, now the thing is, I have heard, even as a kid growing up, some here, just different times. Okay, Igbos are this and they're that, you know, and it's almost like a thing of just laughter, like, oh yeah, oh yeah, right, and things like that, and just pass it off and just keep moving. So when this happened, somehow I don't know why I started listening, and then they related some of the stories to the scriptures, talking about, of course, Eri, and then Gad, and then when I looked at the sons of Gad in the scriptures, those names literally sound Igbo.
Mm.
Like when and the way he said it, it was so, I was like, now these names actually do sound, like in the Igbo kind of, diet, like if you just say it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, is this really true or not? So I kept on listening, kept on listening. And then when they talked about it, then they mentioned how the Eri had different sons and daughters. And then he mentions that one of the sons, okay, uh, married a woman. And I think, or the last son, I think, yeah, one of the sons, yeah, one of the sons um, was the Igala tribe, which is connected to Aries. So when he said that, I was like, okay, what is this dude saying? And so I watched the whole thing, and then I just started doing research. I just started studying. But the thing about it is that when I watched it, it literally, it literally just awakened something in my heart, in my ruach, beyond what I could just, fathom. It just awakened it. I was like, as if what he was saying, there is validity to what this person is saying,
Mm.
you know. Um, but then, and the reason why I started that first instance of that experience is that it took me right back to that experience. And I forgot it. I didn't even remember I had even had that experience, but it took me right back to that experience where I had that epiphany. And I was like, wow, that did actually happen. And so because of that, it just sparked something in me, and I began to do research, because I didn't just want to say, okay, is this what it is? I just began to do research.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a lot of research. I asked my mother, I asked my uncles, I asked people concerning my tribe. And I realized that in terms of um, our cultural traditions were all related. They could go right back to the Torah, go right back to the Torah. And these are just traditions that we're just doing, you know. So that, really sparked, a lot in me. And that kind of confirmed the awakening that I received. Now you notice that for me, it wasn't Deuteronomy, 68, and all that, Deuteronomy 28 and then 68 and things like that. So it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't all that. It was later on that in my research I began to see all those other things as well. But for me, it was right to my people as a people, because for those who don't know, I think I already mentioned it, but my tribe is the Igala tribe, and it's one of the minority tribes in Nigeria. So I began to do research about it. I started asking my mother, started asking different other. I lost my dad actually when I was 10 years old, so I couldn't ask that, but I definitely did ask all my uncles and even my brothers, and just began. And every Igala person that I mentioned and I talked about it, it sparked the same thing. It
Mm.
sparked the same thing. So I began to do research about my tribe. And then I went and Googled it, just the Igala tribe. And I realized the name, the name, the name of my tribe, which is Igala, has roots, Hebrew roots. And that was very major for me, because it's not just talking about uh, practices, cultural practices, and things like that, which I will get to. But I think that particular one was major, because that's related to what they call onomastics. Because onomastics is the study of names, okay, and their origin, the origin of names. So it's not just words in a particular
Mm-hmm.
language, the fact that it's similar to Hebrew or anything like that. It's the name of something and the origin of that name. So we call ourselves Igala. And so based on that, I began to do some research. Um, and then I did some research. I went into one of the Tudor Parfit. For those of you who don't know, Tudor Parfit, he's one of the well-known scholars when it has to do with African, Hebrewisms of
Mm-hmm.
Africa, and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So he has written a lot of books. He was the one who actually discovered, I think, did a research and about the Lemba tribe and things like that. So of course he has his own suppositions or presuppositions or his own conclusions based on these things. And it's not to say that his conclusions are in alignment or in agreement with our people as a community. But the fact that he's done some of this research is very important. And he does also mention these things in objectivity without going against it, but saying that these things are fact to the, truth that they were mentioned. So in one of his books, I think it was the Zionism or some African Zionism, I think. And then in that book, he mentions a professor, and that professor was talking about the fact that it wasn't just the Igbo tribe, that had roots with to ancient Israel, and scattered around Western Africa, West Africa, and so he begins to mention also in Nigeria. So he begins to mention other tribes, and then when he mentions other tribes, he now mentions the fact that some of the names of these tribes betray their Hebrew connections.
Mm.
And he goes on to say Caleb Arba, which is in the scriptures, is what was now turned to Calabar, which is one of the places in Nigeria, um, which is a place where the Efik and the Ibibio tribe actually dwell. So Calabar, and he said that was connected to Caleb Arba, and then he now says, and uh, Igal for Igala. And so I said, okay. I now went in. I've actually done research before because I checked. I said, my tribe. So I went to the Bible and I just typed Igala. When I typed Igala, Igal came up. And when I saw that Igal, I saw that one of the sons of Igal was also from the tribe of Gad. And then
Mm.
there was another also that was from the tribe of, I'm not sure, I think it's Issachar also. So there was two from that tribe. And then there's also Igael, which is the same word, but it was written as Igael, which is the same Igal. So I said,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And when I saw that book, that also solidified the fact that the professor actually mentioned it. So I went into and I did a research what about our tribe and what does that name mean? The meaning of Igala is a compound word which has two words in it, Iga and Allah, right?
Mm.
And in our language, Allah means sheep, okay?
Not
Um,
Muslim Allah.
huh?
Not
No,
Muslim
not,
Allah.
not Muslim Allah, not
Right.
Muslim Allah. It's ALA, and it means sheep. And then Iga means a fence or a fence that's that protects the sheep, and it means a people that the Igala people consider themselves as sheep that are being protected by the Most High.
Mm.
So it was just major for me. And I said, okay. And this is what the Igalas actually, that's what it means. Because in the tribe, there are other little clans which has that same Igas something else, which means a protection or a fence. So like, for instance, there's another place in our tribe, in a clan is called Igaibije, right? Igaibije, which means a protection of iron,
Mm.
right? So the God does mean a protection or a fence that protects, the people that is within it, right? And so I said, okay. So I went to that Igala, and I don't want to do all that now because it's just going to be a whole lot. But I clicked on the Blue Letter Bible, went to the Blue Letter Bible, and I, clicked on the Igal, clicked on it, and then I went into the etymology, and it was from the word Gaal, Gaal, right? So when I clicked on Gaal, Gaal means to redeem, right? To redeem or to avenge, but most like a redeem, to redeem. So when I looked at that, I said, okay. And I went down to the Hebrew Gesenius, um, Chaldee lexicon, and I went into that, and they began to break down that same word, Gaal. And then when you go down, you take your time and read it to the bottom. It says, and to the Arab, it means this, and then to the Hebrew, it means that, and then to both, it means a protector.
Mm.
That the word Gaal means a protector to both the Arab, which is their language, and the Hebrew. It means a protector. So when it uses the word someone who redeems, it also means is because he's come to protect the people. And in order to do that, he redeems. Is part of the things that he does to protect. And he also avenges. He also defends. And all those defender, avenger, redeemer, and protector are all there as the root meaning of the word Gaal. And our people, the Igala means offense and a protection. So that's major for me because that's onomastics.
Mm-hmm.
So that was major for me. And I was like, oh, by that time, I already known that, okay, this is revelation. This was a major awakening for me. And I began to share with my family. And everybody that I spoke to, my sisters and my brothers, you can't deny it. It's almost like it's an every time I spoke to my aunts and they always agree that our culture has a lot of Hebraic traditions in it that is
Mm.
related to to the scriptures. Even when you go to the um even when you go online and look at even the Wikipedia or anyway, you'll see that they actually say it. That's our that we our the way we live and everything is connected also to uh, you know um, to the Torah, to the Hebrews, as they, in terms of the culture. So now I began to look at my culture. I began to look at these other things. All right. Um, I'll give you an example. Of course, you've heard this a lot. There are all these things are there. My mother actually mentioned the fact that her father, right? Her father, her father's brother, they're both brothers, right, from a levirate marriage. Well, in other words, it was his father that passed away, and
Mm-hmm.
then the brother married his,
Wow.
and then they had another brother. So my mother's father, his brother, they're from the same a mother, but different. But their parents, their fathers are brothers. So it's so the levirate marriage is in our culture where when one person dies, the brother takes over, and also begins to care for the brother's wife as well, which is called the levirate marriage. That's there in my family. It's even in my family, and it's there in our culture. I'll tell you another one. When a woman actually gives birth, she's not allowed to be in the courts until 3 months. Her and the baby. Her and the baby.
Mm.
Okay. That's there. Of course, circumcision is there as well. Um, and of course, a naming ceremony. That's another part that we don't, there's a naming ceremony, and
Mm-hmm.
that's major. So that's there in my land, in my tribe as well. So I'll give you other things. I went into some details, and some other time I could actually go into showing you because I actually use like I said, I like being objective, and so I
Mm-hmm.
go to dissertations to articles um, in academia that talks about my tribe, right? And these are people who have done their research and they're objective. They're not even saying that we are Israelites, but they show these things, and I can show you the culture and the way these things happen and the fact that it's connected to the scriptures. I'll give you another one. This is not necessarily probably like a commandment that was given. However, you can see that it is related because of what happened. In my tribe, in the early days, that is stopped now, but earlier times, it actually just stopped not too long ago. But earlier times, when a man wants to marry a woman, he goes to the lady's parents' house and he works for that parent for 7 years.
That's crazy.
He works for that parent for 7 years, And then after that, then he leaves with some of the things that he's also amassed, but with also the woman. That was how marriage took place in my tribe until later on, and of course the ceremony still goes on where there's a dowry and things like that. But that action was what was there in the olden times.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about even early 20th century. It was still there, right? Where you have to work for 7 years for the woman's parents. Okay, so now I'll give you another one. This was another major one that I noticed, that I read about. And um if when there's death in the family, there's death in the family, um they take the body and they put it in a room, right? They put it in a room, and that's after they've dressed the body and everything, and it's in that room. And then people all come and begin to sing and things like that. And that's another thing. They're mourners in my tribe, people who you pay to literally come and mourn. And that's in the scriptures as well. They're mourners. All right. So they come and they sing and everything. But guess what? That body, which is a representation of death, the body's there inside the room. And this is I can show you in dissertation. This is not just hearsay. I can show you articles that show this, right? In the room, before they bring the body out, you have to slaughter a goat without blemish. And not just that, you take the blood and wipe the door. You wipe the door before you bring the body out of the room. That was just, that one was really amazing when I just saw that. You have to take the blood and put it on the doorpost before you bring the body out of the room. And of course, that symbolizes that as the dead is coming out of the body of the room, so that death does not return into that household. So that was major. That was just major for me. So this is how I began to look at other things. Oh man, there's just so much. There's just so much that I can't even. So I'll probably take another day to go into some of these other things as well, and really go into details, because I like people seeing these things by themselves, so that you can tell, so you can see. Now, of course, our oral traditions also talk about the fact that we came from Egypt and also Yemen and through those areas, and that talks about our migration routes and how we, landed in near the river Niger. So my kingdom, the Igala kingdom, was in control of the Niger River for decades. Like we were the first people in Nigeria that the not the Europeans, specifically the British, actually met when they came to Nigeria. We were the first. So our city, Lokoja, was actually the first capital of Nigeria. So because that was where they came and settled. I'll take my time and show you this, because when they came and they saw our king, they acknowledged that he was truly a king, because they wanted to meet him, and he refused to go see them, because he says a king does not go to sea in the boat, because they came in a ship, and they wanted him to come into the ship so they can talk. And he said a king doesn't go in a ship. They got to come and see him if they want to see him. And so I will show you, these are specific writings about that. When they came, they gave him gifts. And he said, these gifts can only be good for my servants. There's nothing. These gifts you're giving me, it's nothing. It's only good to be given to my servants. It's nothing for me. And then he said specifically, this is word for word now, this land was given to me. Now I'm going to use, because that's what he says, that's how they interpreted it, by the Most High. I'll just say the Most High. In the article it says God, but say this land was given to me by the Most High, and I am made in his image. That's what he said. This was in 19 this was in 1941. He said either 1941 or 19, because I know they came first of all. Yeah, either from the 1932 to 1941, between that, because there were two times that they came and met, and there were two different kings at that time. Well, so one of them, that's what he said. He said, I was made in his image, and this river Niger belongs to me all the way up and down. If you want to come and talk, because they wanted to, so they bought, they actually bought a land with cowries, and they never paid it in full. They never paid it in full.
Wow.
Right. So, and he said, if you want to do that, come and then talk with me, but I'm not going to meet you. You got to come to meet me. And they had to do that. Right. I'll show you an article, but I just said that to say that because he said that he was made in the image of the Most High. That's what he said.
Mm.
And so all these things, when I began to see, read up also about one of our kings who did mention the fact that we came through Egypt, and you can see loan words. You can see Egyptian loan words in our languages and Hebrew loan words. You can see them as well. There are many others. I can't go into. I love to really go into detail because I like to show it, so it won't be like I'm just saying it. But this was just major, and these are just a part of many of the things that I discovered, down to the name of our capital of our kingdom, which is Ida.
Mm-hmm.
That's the name of. That's where I was born. I was born in Ida, and even the meaning of that is also specific. I don't want to go into that. I gotta. That will be another time. I'll show you some of these relations. But yeah, that's where I was born, and that's the capital of the kingdom. Okay, so yeah, having gone through all these things, it was beyond reasonable doubt. And I began to go into, study. Now, all these things is what I've been able to discover all throughout, from that time. But yes, I did begin to study one of the camps because I was lonely. I didn't know who to, and so I found, and I'm not going to mention the name. I did see some of the videos, and I was wondering, I saw these videos, and where, some of these guys in the streets and everything talking, the things that they were saying, some of them was very profound, but the manner and the approach was a problem for me. It was problematic for me, and I didn't know how to relate to that because I was, I just didn't know how to relate to that. So I began to do more research. I spoke to the person that I watched that video on Facebook. I contacted him, and he was the one who directed me to a camp. I didn't know any better, and they didn't know me, but I just started studying. But I went through that camp, and I said, this is not enough. This is not it. This is not it. I learned some things, and I won't lie. I did learn some things, but I knew that there was something not right. And it was after that, then I saw another group, which was more, they were more objective in their study. And I started, listening to them as well. But after a while, I also moved from there, and I began to, until I met, and I have to mention this, but until I met Divine Prospect of Kingdom Harbinger Ministries.
Mm-hmm.
And I began to see the fact that I love his approach. He's objective, he's academic, and at the same time spiritual. So that was what I was looking for. And I began to learn methodologies and being able to actually do my own research. And that's how I began to grow, and I was able to now do my own research as well and come to conclusions as in regards to me, my identity, and also as it's connected to my people, the Igala people. So that's it. I know that was long.
No, I'm trying to stay on track, but it always triggers more questions for me. That was because you've already shared this with me, and I was like, this is just amazing, and other people need to hear it. And one of the things that I think you shared is, although your tribe and the people back in Nigeria, because you're in the States now, even though they follow all these traditions, they still fall under Deuteronomy 28 because they
Correct.
lost their way, so they don't even
Correct.
know.
Correct.
That's it's powerful. And go ahead.
Yeah, people don't, it's important. Like it's so important to read and to study, because people like to say, there's nowhere in the scriptures that says that the people will forget. And when you bring out the fact that they will lose their heritage, you say no, things like that. But when you go into history, because nobody denies the Sephardic Jews and the fact that the Sephardic, were also taken in the Spanish Inquisition. When you read Peter Mark's book, he tells you in 200 years, the descendants of the Sephardics forgot who they were. That's just 200 years. They totally forgot the fact that they were Israelites. They totally forgot it. Totally. And it's in his book. Peter Mark, what's the name of it? I can't remember the specific name of that book, but once I could give it to you later on, so you can.
Okay.
Yeah, but that just goes to show that yes, we were suffering that as well wherever we were, even in Africa, as we were scattered in the diaspora.
Yeah. And I think it's important to know, because we're here in the States, and a lot of times we miss that part where it says that Yah was going to scatter us to all four corners of the earth. And the other thing to note is that, and I think I shared this with you when, you shared your story with me. It's fascinating that you can connect back, because I know you were basically raised in the States, but you can connect back to your tribe. And that's huge. It's something that we don't have. And even though they might be lost, it's kind of like it's almost like they're a couple of steps closer.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if we'll ever be able to reconnect with our tribe. What do you think?
Oh, yes, they will. And that's why, for me, this is what I stand for. I stand for unity. I stand for the coming together of Israel, no matter where they are. Okay? That's what I stand for. We have differences. There are things, and there are communities, there are groups of people that I do. That's right. I was just trying to get it. The forgotten diaspora.
I knew she was going to post it.
Thank you, Sister Pam. The forgotten diaspora. I was trying to get it on my phone before you asked me this question. So thank you, Sister Pam. That's it. Yeah. And so when you read that book, he does actually mention the fact that the descendants of the Sephardic Jews, after 200 years, forgot who they were. That's just 200. Just 200. They forgot who they were. Okay. So coming back, I do believe that, we have different, sects, or what should I say, schools of thought in our community that I do not agree with. I don't agree with them. But I'm not going to waste, open my mouth to try to speak against and things like that. That's my calling. My job and my calling that I see is to bring us together, to bring those with like minds together. And then as we continue to go, the things that do separate us will begin to fall off as we begin to do that. So that's what I stand for. And that's why I do believe as well that there are some people who completely feel like everybody else is in Africa. If you weren't on the boat, then you're not Israelite.
Right. That's right.
We say that. And it's sad. I don't go about trying to go against and fight and do all that. There's no need for that. I believe that the more you have understanding, the more you have wisdom, the more humble you are, and the more you're able to tolerate. When you can't, that's an example of the amount of wisdom and understanding that you haven't. If you claim to have understanding and wisdom, then you should be able to, to be, tolerant, and also to be humble, to know that the things that knowing that you know more than the other was given to you. You didn't just do this on your own. So pride goes out the way completely. The more you get to understand, the more you realize that you don't really know. And it is the Most High that's revealing these things to you. So I do know that there's a connection needs to be between those in Africa and those in the diaspora. There will be that connection. And that connection needs to stay and get stronger, because with that, there are things that we also need to understand as it relates to the experience that, those in the diaspora have gone through, and vice versa. So we need to just look at our strengths, and make sure that we take advantage of the strengths that each group has actually experienced. And I believe that you will be able to, just like how you just, I remember, I think you just told me before you came that you know how many percent is from Nigeria when you did your DNA?
17, I think. It was
Seven.
17.
Okay.
Yeah, and everything else was lower and under that.
Okay.
So that
Everything
was
was
my
under that.
highest number.
Okay. Okay. That's
Yeah,
good. So
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So even that is also helping. But as we begin to talk and everything, you know, it's about the we that we know who we are. You know, that connection will continue to go, and then we'll be able to help each other. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Praise y'all. Okay, so the next question is, what has the journey been like?
Well, it's been great. I think that's the things that I've actually mentioned. I think I probably already started answering that. You know, the journey's been wonderful. Um, it's been great. I can only just give all praise to the Most High Yah for His mercy, for His favor,
Mm-hmm.
for His favor, His mercy. It's beyond. It's just, you know, I give all praise to Him. It's been wonderful. It's like you know, it's like somebody that was in a desert just looking for water and just finds an oasis, and you just stay there, and you have all the things that you have, and you're just drinking and drinking and drinking. So that's how it's been for me in terms of understanding and uh, knowledge of the scriptures of the Torah, and the favor to live it out as well. Yeah, you know, it's just wonderful. It's totally a different experience from what I had, you know, being in the church. It's a totally different experience, and
Mm-hmm.
I can only just be grateful to the Most High for that. Yeah.
What? So, what do you feel like the difference is?
So uh, the difference, number one, is for me is faith that is rooted in understanding, faith that is rooted in um, that has not just that has the cultural aspect of it, the spiritual aspect of it, the identity aspect of it,
Mm, yeah.
the true understanding, the fact that a lot of the things that we thought we knew was just dogma, and the fact that it was just passed on, the understanding of the fact that a lot of things that is going on in the church is Eurocentric, the fact that you cannot remove culture from a person's spirituality, and that's what Christianity is trying to do. But in other words, when you notice the fact that most of the what they call holidays or their own, you know, um, feast days is connected to the European traditions. So
Mm-hmm.
they still added those traditions in it, right? So when you begin to know and realize that these things that um, culture is spirituality, and when you look at pre-exilic Israelite culture, the spirituality was embedded in it, and you can't separate it, you know. And having that understanding was just a breath of fresh air for me, and I was be able to understand the Torah, knowing that, you know, it's almost, I don't want to put it like, but it's almost like giving somebody, remember those little books that had just Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John?
Yeah.
Those little, you know,
The
so
ones
it's
in the
almost like,
hotel.
yeah, just little, it just has only
Yeah.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you know. It's almost like it's like it, like, how do I put it? It's like giving you something that doesn't have the root and the understanding of why those things actually happen. And so even though you will read it and it'll bless you, but you don't understand how to interpret it because you don't understand the root. You don't
Mm-hmm.
understand where it comes from. And so going back into the Torah gave me a better understanding of the Brit Hadashah, which is the New Testament,
Mm-hmm.
and be able to better interpret these things. And so it's a breath of fresh air in terms of understanding. And those are the differences. That the fact that you now have faith that is rooted in things that has proof, intangible things that you can understand, and so your faith becomes grounded. Your faith has an anchor, you know, and it's not just by dogma and just by words and things like that. But yes, it's by the word of Torah but you can also see it expressed in your daily life and also in terms of your identity and all these things. So it's just amazing. So those are the differences that I see. There are of course a lot other differences, but
Yeah.
yeah.
That was actually the next question. So that was good. I slipped that in there, didn't realize it.
Okay. Okay.
And I agree because, especially again, we don't have any type of connection to anything. And I heard
Mhm.
someone say that's why they're always changing the label that they put on us: Negro, colored, African American, because they want us to stay in this confusion and they don't ever want us to make the connection. Because, I've mentioned this before. I know for the most part, a lot of lay people don't know who we are, but I believe higher ups do. They know who we are.
Mhm.
And the connection with our identity
Mhm.
is connected to their destruction. And that's why it's still going to happen for them. But the more we connect and the more we awaken, it's like the more powerless they know, they recognize. And that's why people have to recognize when someone just comes out and just proclaims their identity and it gets the whole world in an uproar. People have been, you have to sit up and take notice. It's not to hate anybody else. It's not to uh tear down any other belief system or any other.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's just like, I know who I am. I've been spending all of these years just kind of existing in a lie. Like you said, I've been taught Eurocentric ideologies and principles, and now it's like that's theirs and that's fine, but this is just ours and the way we do things and the way we're expected by the Most High to do things. And for some reason, that's a difficult concept for people to grasp. But
Yeah.
those who are in the truth and firmly in the truth, we stand 10 toes down on it.
Yeah.
Um,
And
okay,
that's
so
why I just
oh,
want
go
to
ahead.
say, just to add to that, just want to say that that's why it's so important. And this is just like an encouragement to our people. When you get to know who you are and everything, do not be filled with hate. Do not be filled with hate,
That's right.
because the love of the Ruach HaKodesh has been shed abroad in your heart. Focus on knowing who you are. Focus on understanding the Torah. Focus on that, and focus on how to love one another and to be able to help one another. Focus on that. Do not focus on hate. Do not focus on that, because I believe that will, take us to the next level. And also, people who are without can look and say, hey, these people, they won't have any reason to say anything against us.
Hmm.
They can't, because they say, okay, these people are really living. So we are the ones that are supposed to let our light shine, right? So that let your light shine. It's us. So we need to showcase that, show forth that, so the people from without will say, of a truth, these people are, you know, who they are.
Hmm. Yeah, just this is just a side note. Emmanuel is way younger than me. That he has such an old. It's like he's got such an elder spirit about him, and it's like a lot of times, we have our own side conversations because I get a little escalated and animated sometimes, and he'll just say Joe, and he'll give me a different perspective, which it helps. That's my brother, y'all. He's supposed to be the younger brother, but sometimes it's like I'm talking to one of my elders. I promise you. I know y'all see it too. But and it's true. And it's like we're so focused on not us as a whole. And this actually brings me to the next question. So I'm going to hold my response to what you just said. But my next question is, what is your opinion on the current state of our community?
Yeah, I will say this: the current state of our community, it's almost like a child trying to find his way. It's almost like a child trying to, begin a walk, and he's still stumbling as he's crawling and he's getting up and he's stumbling. So I see that's the process. Um, and in as that process begins to grow more and more, there will be some kind of a separation, and we can't deny that. There's no denying that there will be a separation, but we're not the one who does the separation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's for us to continue to do what is called of us to do, and you will just gradually or naturally just notice that there will be a separation, as we can see that there's a separation even right now.
Mm.
So yeah, I won't. I got to be honest. There's been a lot of back and forth, and very, very. What should I say? I don't know how to. You know. Yeah, just going back and forth with different within our community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I just got to be honest. I feel it's a necessary. I believe that if there are two different perspectives and things like that, you can come together, have a meeting, and say, okay, let's, even if it's healthy, even if we actually want to use that word debate, but it's healthy, and we're bringing our reasons, and after that, come to a conclusion, see how we can come to an agreement, and the ones that we can't, we know that okay, this is your position, this is mine, and we move on as we keep growing, as people keep moving, people leave and get more understanding and drop some of the things that they held on to previously, and then pick up some of the things that they didn't pick up. And so that's just the bottom line. So I just feel like we should, the fact that we are a community, the fact that we are a cod, that should be the most important thing. And we should be able to showcase that a codness,
Mm-hmm.
if there's a word,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that oneness. We should be able to be, that's more important. That's so much more important. And healthy conversations, just like, Maria just mentioned, yes, a healthy conversation. I think that we should continue to do that. And those who are without, there are people who will say all kinds of things against us and everything. There's a way you can respond to that. I was watching somebody who was giving a rebuttal to someone who was against. Um, um, I think it was what's his name? I think it was Fortune.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was his channel where this talking about I think it was the Sephardic Jews, part 1 and 2, and in that he was talking about somebody else who went against his position, and the person did mention and say some ad hominems. He did mention put ad hominems, and very, very kind of hostile in what and how he delivered it. But this person, um, who was on the channel, who was talking about it, he didn't respond in that way. All he did was address what the person said, and then had made his rebuttal without ad
Mm-hmm.
hominems, without attacking the person, without doing all that, but just going straight to the facts and then giving his reasons why what the person said was wrong. That's how I believe that things should be. And I was I was impressed at that. So we know that people will always try to come against and everything. There's nothing wrong with that. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with that. It's just to be able to respond in a well mannered way and then keep it moving.
Yeah. And then if you don't agree, I don't, I think that and I may have mentioned this in the last segment, but it's not that it's wrong to disagree because we're all going to have different perspectives, but it's how we disagree and how we see people attacking each other and cursing each other out and fighting with each other. That part is the part that upsets me because it's set up by the enemy to rob us of our relationship. Because I was reading that scripture that said, Master, we prophesied in your name and we healed and we did all these things, and he said, away from me, I never knew you. And my revelation bell, it might go off a little later than some people, but when you think about how somebody, how they said, and Abraham knew his wife, that means he became one with her and he became intimate. And so Yah is like, depart from me. You never became one with me. You never became intimate with me. And so I don't know who you are. You never
Yep.
trusted me to heal you or to purge those things from me, from
Yep.
you. And so it comes out in reaction when
Yep.
when you see people just get so ready to fight, and it's like, what, it's like you're going to be caught with no oil in your lamp.
Yeah.
and the warnings are out there, and I'm praying. The only a lot of times people don't want to hear, you end up getting blocked. So I just believe that our best plan of action is to pray and to kind of stay clear of it, because we get hyped up. We get excited about the our flesh, like, oh, they're over there debating. I'm like, I don't know. I know, where is the good news? One of the desires is that this segment would be a reminder of Yah's goodness, His grace, His love, and His mercy for those who are currently in the awakening, and for those who are coming in. Because
Yes.
when they come in and they see what they're dealing with in the street, they're gonna be like, "There's nowhere to go where I can
Right.
find the shalom and Yah." And so we have to get back to our first love again. Um, okay, last question. What advice would you give to those that are just waking up?
Yeah. The advice that I will give is, man, just know, yes, it's going to be lonely. Now, the good thing about it is that those who are awakening now are not as lonely as those of us who were awakened earlier. Man, it was lonely. Man, it was, and I'm not even, there was a, there was a wave during my time. That 2017, that was a wave. A lot of people
Mhm,
came in around that
mhm,
time. Around that time. Now there were other waves even before that, right? You can imagine how lonely they were, you know. So I know how I was, how hard it was to even uh, leave. Now the thing is that I didn't say this, but I was a music director. I played the keys. I was, a music director. Um, sang. I was an artist as well. A rap artist and everything. So it was hard for me. It was hard for me to break away. It was difficult because it was part of what I lived by. I was getting paid to play, you know, and so when I got to know who I was still going on Sundays. And I had to pray. I said, Father, you're going to have to take me out. And that's what I did. I said, Father, you're going to have to take me out of here, please. And I'm from the bottom. And he did it. He did it where I was able to do it without any feeling of, and so it was major for me. And how I was so filled with joy that I could begin to, follow the Shabbat, the Shabbat. That was just amazing for me.
mhm.
That was just so refreshing for me. It was so refreshing, but I was lonely. So my encouragement and my advice is get yourself lost in the word. Go into the Torah and search. Search. As you do search about identity, as you do search about, don't let that just be it. Do search and understand the Torah. Understand the instructions that you're supposed to do. Know what you are supposed to do in terms of what it will take to express your love for him. If you love me, keep my commandments. So you got to know these commandments in order to express your love towards him. So get yourself lost in it. You might be alone, but just hang in there. And as you do that, you'll find others that you can begin to dwell with, or you begin to fellowship with. If you can find some people, by all means, because that'll speed up your growth. You know, find a community, find a people that you can, fellowship with and begin to grow together.
Mhm.
Ask questions. Ask questions. Continue to ask. Let every question be asked. Not every question will be answered, but ask. You know, now you're in a place where you can ask. If you're in a place where you're not allowed to ask a question, please, that in itself is questionable. All right. So make sure that you're in a place where you're free to search and ask questions and, be able to find and discover, in terms of the Torah. So my advice, search, get yourself together, search, commune with the Most High, commune,
Mm.
commune with the Most High in prayer, understand these things, and he will lead you. He will guide you to the place, to the people you can fellowship with, and he will guide you even along your path as in regards to what you are even called to do and accomplish now that you know who you are. So that's my advice.
That's good stuff. And I don't know if you saw Sister Maria said it makes it more difficult to be drawn into false doctrine.
Yes,
Those
it
are
is.
facts.
Yes, yes, that's a fact. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's, and we all part of it. Like for me, I'll say it, like I said earlier that I was, I didn't agree with, but I went through it. But as long it didn't sit with my ruach, and I said, and some of the things were not fully explained, so I said, no, Father. And he just kept on leading me, and he led me out. They didn't even, it's a good thing. It wasn't a physical thing where I was going there. It was just you know, did the academy and things like that, and just started, listening to the teachings and to the, to their school or so. But after that, I just knew that, nah, there's more to this. And as he that searches, he that knocks, the door will be open. He that searches will find. So just keep on searching. It's a thing for kings and queens to search out a matter. So
Mm.
continue to do that search, and the Most High will reveal things to you.
And you know what I love about that advice is that he wants to give you a true revelation of his
Hmm.
word and a
Yeah.
true revelation, not a Eurocentric revelation
Mm-hmm.
based on somebody else's man made doctrine, but
Mm-hmm.
from the very word. And there's something about coming into the truth and reading the word. It just gives your heart and your mind a different perspective of who the Most High is and who you are in relation to him. And but if we run around and I did it when I first came into the truth. I got excited and I would run to this platform and that platform. And after a while it was like systems overload, and I had to think about it. My heart was convicted. It's like, but you're not spending any time with him by yourself. And there were things that he had to purge out of me. And there were places that he's still healing me, maturing me, um, renewing my mind, because it says be ye transformed. That's a continuum. And so if our mind isn't going to be transformed if this doctrine is there and that platform gives that doctrine. But in the word of Yah, first there's safety to keep you from all the mess and all the foolishness, even from all the things that are going on where people are like, I'm scared, I'm this, I'm that. The word will keep you stable, and it'll keep your feet steady, and it'll keep your feet, like the scripture says, from running to mischief.
Mm-hmm.
And when we can't keep running to mischief. Oh, so and so's getting ready to go off on so and so on this platform, and
Mm-hmm.
we don't have time anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to get, it's like everybody, it says that the foolish virgins and the wise virgins, everybody, when they said the bridegroom is coming, everybody got their lamps ready, but everybody didn't have oil. And I know they're like, I know you're not looking at me for mine, what I went through just to get it. And so he wants that individual one-on-one, personal, intimate, become one with him relationship. And we miss out. That's the hard part. We miss out on so much when we decide um, to learn the word just to beat people over the head with it and to debate people. We have got to learn the word to apply it to our hearts, because that's where the healing needs to and the transformation has to happen. But if we're only doing it for head knowledge, we have to answer for that.
Yep. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I think that you know, yeah, we need to, we need to really come together and do more about um, supporting each other. We need to support each other as much as
Mm-hmm.
possible,
Mm-hmm.
even in our endeavors. Because if you notice, this understanding of living in a community with people with like minds, it's not just happening even within the awakening. Have you noticed that they're just people who want to just go off the grid and live, you know, and begin to live together and things like that? It's happening everywhere. There,
Mm-hmm.
there are billionaires that are trying to build communities. There's a billionaire that's trying to build a community in Arizona from in the desert, and it's building it, and I think it's going to cost about $20 billion,
Mm.
and it's going to start in different phases of completely new community from the scratch, you know. and it's going to be a community of like minds and everything, and that's what they're doing. It's what they're trying to
Mhm.
do, you know. So um in the as big as that, and even as little as just groups of people trying to just live off the grid, just like that, you know. So we also need to be prepared, knowing that we should be able to set up Goshens all around, where we can be able to freely worship Yah and obey His commandments with love in our hearts. It'll be wonderful, because we want the way, there's a certain way you want our children to
Mhm.
grow up. So we want them to be in that same environment. So in order to do that, our endeavors, the things that we do, we need to support each other, because the resources to actually get this done is going to come from within us. So
Mhm.
we need to do that, right? Yeah. I don't know. I was just about to talk about my.
Oh no! Listen. You got the floor, bro. You got the floor. So it's up to
Oh
you.
man.
I'm excited about it, but I'm leaving it up to you. And maybe
Um,
you can go into it without going into it if that's what you want to do.
well, I mean, I
That's
just wanted,
on you.
like, okay, just switching up a little bit. Now, this is in the fintech space, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm in the fintech space, and some of y'all don't really know what, it's just called financial technology, right? And the Most High has really blessed me and my business partner. We are both co-founders of an app called Change App. Now, this app is actually solving a problem in the whole United States. We just saw that there's a problem, and we just wanted to meet that problem. And somehow, we're able to get the resources to build the application. And we also got even you know, banking partnership, you know, with one of the top fintech banks in America. That's amazing. That's amazing, you know.
Mhm.
And all this is the Most High is doing it, to be able to actually function as a financial technology application in America. You don't want to know the kind of due diligence and compliance that needs to go through. We've gone through countless, and we're still going through even as we speak. But the good thing is we're live. It's called Change App. What does it do? Basically, it solves the loose change problem. So that's what that's it right here. So it solves the loose change problem, right? And what it's doing is, we noticed that um, all those coins, whenever you receive your change, you lose it, because have it loses its value. So
Mhm.
it gets lost under your couch, under your car seat, and things like that. So this is a way in which, when you pay with cash, instead of receiving the change physically and you lose those coins, you receive it digitally, and it goes into a wallet and you save. So we're mitigating that loose change problem at the point of a sale. Okay, so now we're actually revolutionizing the piggy bank. We're making it digital. There's no need to keep it, and when you have it there, you don't do anything with it. So that's what we're doing. And also for the merchants as well, you have the problem of always going to the bank because you don't have change to give when somebody pays with cash. So you got to go to the bank. You got to get, um, they try to go to the bank to get coins so they can give, and that's a lot of time and a lot of money. you know so somebody says it's something like acorns. So it's like, not like Bitcoin, but acorns. But the difference with acorns is, with acorns, when you swipe your card, that's what acorns does. You swipe a card, and then acorns rounds it up to let's say you wanted to buy something for $8.50. You swipe your card, acorns rounds it up to $10, and then it takes that $1.50 and saves it for you. So, but the difference with us is, with acorns, is the money was never lost. It was in your bank account. It was never lost. What we're doing is that physical change that you receive and you lose it because you don't do anything with it. It's either under your car seat, in your car, under your couch, sometimes in your laundry, under your couch, just scattered all over your homes. We're mitigating that. So we're literally actually handling that loose change problem. So when you pay with cash, receive your change digitally, and then with that, you're saving all throughout the year. You can look at how much you saved instead of it just being around your home. For the merchants, there's a credit card. Remember those credit and debit card fees. You
Mhm.
know, Instead of those credit and debit cards, because when you swipe a card, you also, incur that charge. The merchant puts it on you and puts it on himself. But when you give an opportunity to pay with cash, that's why sometimes when you go to the gas station, they'll tell you for cash, this is the price. For card, this is the price,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that's what you're gonna do. Instead of paying that fee when you swipe with the card, you pay with cash, right? And once you pay with cash, you're paying for, you don't have to pay those fees. But the merchant, the reason why they don't do that cash is because of the problem with change and having to always try to look for change. When they go to the banks, they get rows. Sometimes banks don't even give them more than 2 or 3 rows because there's a shortage of coins. So there's a shortage of coins. There's credit card fees for the merchants, and then there's also that convenience of being able to give out and not lose their customers. So for the merchant and from the customer, it's a win-win situation. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
you can go to the Google, you can go to Google Play Store and download Change app. It's CHAING. That's the spelling. CHAINGAPP. Change app. You go to Google and then you can go to App Store. It's right there. Download it. If you're a merchant, you're a small business, just download Change, and you don't have to go and to the bank for change anymore. You can just tell your clients, take the cash, but I give change digitally, and it's for your own good.
Mm-hmm.
So currently, right now, we already started. We were on Fox 5 on Saturday. We were on Fox 5, and it was wonderful. It was great, and a lot of people are already downloading it in the DMV area. Um, we've actually raised a lot of investment, over 300,000. You know, and we're moving, we're growing, and it's amazing. The Most High is really giving us favor, and because we're meeting a need, we're helping everybody. But it's just a good thing, just good to hear that something like this is coming from our community. It's just awesome.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is the part he didn't say, and I'm going to share it. That he's doing all of these endeavors to do whatever he can to bridge the gap so we can become a community until the Most High calls us home. He's not even doing this for selfish gain or anything like that. I mean, of course, he wants to make a little couple of coins off of it, but he's so excited about us coming together and us becoming together as community that he's fighting for us to be able to be self-sufficient until God calls us home. Don't get me later if I wasn't supposed to share that part.
Well, that's all right. That's okay. I mean, like I said, everything is about love, and as a community, if we're together as a community, we have equity when we're even in, contact with other communities that are without our community, right? We come with equity and we can still do things. That's just the bottom line. That's just it. Like I said, I'm not here to do anything. We know how everything is going to pan out. We know what the Most High is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Our job is to be together as a people, and then to shed and spread that light. And so for me, that's basically just like she said. Later on, I'll go into more detail about that, but that's the instruction that the Most High gave us, and that's how we're going. We're taking it one step at a time. So it'll be a great thing if everybody could just, uh, try to support what the Most High is doing, um, as we keep moving.
Mm-hmm. And share this with other people. Share it on your social media pages and share it as much as you can because we got to support each other. And I just think this is a wonderful invention and idea. And I'm praying that Yah blesses it tenfold, especially because your motive is about bringing your people together. And I told them when it blows up, I want a job. So, we already talked about that. But anything I can do to help, you already know.
Of course,
But
you know that.
what was I going to ask you? Okay, so we're done. But if there's anything that you want to add, um, or any parting words, any closing words that you want to share, any words of wisdom, y'all. This is a brother that teaches the word like nobody's business. I'm still pushing him for a YouTube channel, but I know he's busy. But I'm going to post this question for you. But if you have,
Yes, you. Um, we could talk in the back end. Can you get her,
can,
her
can you
contact? because
Yeah.
it can't be done in a public platform. So
Mhm.
we can talk about that in private.
Is there, do you want me to get their email or do you want me to drop yours in the chat?
Okay. Yeah, you can get their email, or you can drop mine as well.
Okay, I'll drop yours.
Yeah,
Um, I think.
but I got to give you my work email.
Okay, tell me what it is and I'll drop it for you.
All right, it's EEDILI at changeapp.com. Yep,
EEDILI.
at changeapp.com. CHAINGAPP.com.
Bruh, you caught me. EEDILI at changeapp.com. Boom. And so this, and the reason why I wanted to put it in the chat is because we get a decent amount of views after the recording stops over the last segment got about over 100 views, and so I want people
Mhm.
to be able to learn more about it from you because I'm not savvy yet with it, but I definitely want to support your business and I want to promote it as much as I can. So,
Hallelujah.
and people see this, they watch it. Next thing you know, somebody else might want you on their platform, which
Yep.
that's my prayer for you.
Yep.
And most of all, and on top of everything, my prayer is that word that is in your belly that it would get out because that the world needs to hear the anointing that comes from you and that word that revelation that Yah gives you. It's no joke, y'all. It's no joke.
Hallelujah.
So do you have any closing words that you want to share with your brothers and sisters?
Just want to say, you know, I love the mishpachah, you know, and I just love y'all, and thank you for the opportunity, Ema Jill, for just letting me, share here. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. It was so wonderful, and um, I just pray that we all come to the fullness of the measure of the stature of Yahuah in Yahusha Hamashiach. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I don't want to call her name out, but 78 vet. Let me post what she said. Um, that
Oh,
we used to fellowship at your house because I don't want to put her name out there. She doesn't
I
want
get
it,
it. Okay, okay,
but
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
she gave you a shout out when we first started.
Oh wow, I remember.
Yep,
Wow, shalom,
yep.
sis, shalom.
So, what is your PayPal or Cash App?
Oh boy. What is my what is my cash app? I don't.
Wait, do I have it? Let me check. Let me see if I have it.
Um, it is. Yeah, it's at Emanuel Edili. At Emanuel Edili. That's my cash app.
Oh wait, I'm gonna do the dollar sign. It's not.
Oh, the
Is it
dollar
the
sign, right?
dollar
Let me see. Yeah,
sign?
is it dollar sign?
All
Let
right.
me hold on.
I don't know if you can see the chat. Hopefully, you
Oh yeah, it's
can.
dollar sign, not at. Correct. Yeah, it's dollar sign.
Okay. Hopefully that's right.
No, that's two M's. It's two M's.
Oh, okay. Let me start over.
It's dollar sign. Yeah, correct.
Okay, that's his Cash App, y'all. And then let's see. Wow, is there a CD?
Oh no, not yet, not yet. So I have done things in the past, and so I'm reinventing. So there's a lot of work we need to do. There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot, you know. So right now I'm focusing on this. No CDs yet. My CDs were out previously. Yeah, and I was in the gospel industry. Went to Stellar. I was nominated for Stellar Awards, and things like that. But so I don't have that. I don't want to. I want to push this new, awakening now. So definitely gonna take my time and do some things. And when that is done, definitely your CD will be out.
Yeah, because you still have to sleep too. Don't forget. Don't forget the rest. Well, thank you, my Ak, my Moreh. I really appreciate this. This was an honor and a privilege because I'm trying to push my brother and get him out there. Y'all just don't know. But thank you so much. I really appreciate you. And we have to get you back on here to talk more about history and
Exactly.
how you made your connections and
Yeah.
about Punjab. So
Uh,
we have to make that happen soon. I know your schedule is crazy busy, but we're going to make it happen.
Awesome. Awesome.
All right.
Definitely. Love that.
Somebody said, "Oh, okay, you are super fancy." uh, and thank everybody that came and watched. Praise y'all for you. I appreciate you so much, and I love you all. Also, one more thing, I'm gonna put my email in the chat because if you are a daughter of Zion, um, we would love to have you join us at Aruka at the Well, which is every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern. We're coming together. Each one of us is that woman at the well with Yahusha, seeking after him to heal. And we're growing, we're healing, and we're watching y'all do some amazing things within these meetings. And so we would love to have you. Shoot me an email, and I'll include you to our email list. Just identify yourself, if and I'm sorry, it's for sisters only. But shoot me an email, and then every Sunday I get the link out for the Zoom. And so, oh,
Oh my goodness.
you
Oh
saw
my
it.
goodness. I saw it. I saw it.
I
Oh
told
my.
him. I told him, y'all, get
Oh
him, get him,
man.
get him, get him.
Oh,
That's great.
oh man. What am I gonna do? Well, hopefully it'll come. It'll come. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually thinking about that actually. So it'll definitely come. Thank you, Avad Yahoo. I appreciate that. Thank you for that that comment. And it's definitely shows, I can't run away from this thing. So I gotta do it. I gotta do it.
Yeah.
So I definitely
So
will.
some people are watering. Some people have planted the seed, and now some people are coming along to water. It looks like y'all's going to give you the increase.
Hallelujah.
Just saying.
Hallelujah.
Yep, yeah, will make a way. Yes, he will. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it so much. And I'm praying I pray for you. I'm praying special blessings over you. Um, Brother Chittum, that's his, that's his business partner, and for the awakening and for the teachings. I still share your teachings that we used to have because we felt we don't live far from each other. So he would have fellowships at his house, and he would break stuff down like a fracture for us. It was great. And so I'm still looking forward to more of that. And the world needs to hear from you, brother man. Um,
Hallelujah.
you see what Pam wrote?
Yes, I did. Thank you, Sister Pam. All praises to the Most High, man.
Yeah, that's
All
high
praises to the
praise from
Most
that
High.
one. Hmm. And
Hallelujah.
so we're gonna have you back soon, Ak. But
Yes, 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 for sure.
thank you. I appreciate you. You know you're my
Toda,
brother. All
toda,
right,
toda, Ima.
all right. Shalom, everybody. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Oh, okay, cool, Bessie. That's wonderful.